Hotapu everyone, this is Pharaoh King Ra Smabafagbemi, the world's first openly African black gay pharaoh. And the role of a pharaoh is to nurture and to protect his people. And today I wish to discuss with you revelations coming down from the divine worlds, revelations about bisexuality. Today we're going to look into the spiritual dynamics of bisexuality. And so what you're seeing on the screen is an image of a bisexual liaison. And on the right, you're seeing a reading that I did yesterday on bisexuality, bisexual spirit, what is the deity that controls it, what is its mystery, and the results and the messages were beautiful and profound and truly breathtaking. So as you may all know, around 2010, I believe it was the summer 2010, I opened the Golden Beetle Temple, which is a temple for black gay men, but open to all people. It is a temple by, of, and for black gay men in particular, but we, for the whole time of our presence, have been open to all people, all races, all sexualities. But I came to Earth personally as a black gay male to buck the homophobic tendencies and traditions of Africa that have been in Africa and still exist in Africa and in many black communities around the world. I wanted to, I was assigned by heaven as what's called a corrector. We come once every great age, once every 26,000 years or so, and we incarnate to repair the corruptions done to our religious systems of Africa. All things go through ups and downs, highs and lows, purity and corruption. So once in an age, a corrector, gay African is born, whose mission it is to correct the corruption of the ancestral traditions. So we're entering soon, in about 300 years, the age of Hapi, Aquarius, which is in Egypt shown as an androgynous male. So that means we're entering the age of androgeneity, of sexual diversity, sexual variety being normalized on a global societal scale. Hapi is a man with breasts, and he's pregnant. And some say those aren't breasts, it's just he got pendulous chest. No, there are texts that read, for example, that the god Heru, the great hawk god, suckled and got milk from the teat of this male Hapi. So he has breasts, and he is pregnant. And he embodies the conversation about different types of sexual energy in the universe. You have sexual reproduction, you have asexual reproduction. There are all these wonderful varieties of sexuality in nature. There's homosexuality in nature, bisexuality in nature. It's just fluid. It's beautifully fluid. And so I came to my destiny as a voice of the power of the gatekeepers, which are the gay people. And gatekeepers are so called because we have the power to access any gate or any spiritual system, technology, or ability, because we are a very small minority in any culture, about 8 to 10% usually. That's not a lot. And we are a very tiny minority in any civilization, yet we are disproportionately brutalized and bullied by toxic masculinity and patriarchal aggressions. So in exchange for our small numbers and our overwhelming experience of being attacked by much bigger, stronger forces, the Creator gave us a counterbalancing boon, which is the power to access any spiritual mystery possible. So you have gatekeepers and you have gays. Gay is the beginning stage of one day becoming a gatekeeper. Gay is uh, more oriented towards the physical, sexual side of same-sex love. Gatekeeper is keeping that physical, sexual, same-sex love, but taking it to the level of the spirit. It's like a very, very spiritual gay, the gay mystic, the gay shaman. That's the gatekeeper. Okay, so I'm giving a bit of background before we discuss the spiritual glory of bisexuals. So I spent my whole life actually, but from 2010 to now, directly focusing on the gifts that gay black men can give to the world. And I built that into the Golden Beetle. So my YouTube channel, my books, my classes, all of these things were done to reveal to the world the glory of black gay men, gatekeepers, to begin to change minds, open hearts, to begin to show people that we are valuable, we have a contribution to give to the world. And the Golden Beetle teachings are a set of teachings of spirituality or deep psychology that leaves no one out. There's no group left out because it was made by a gatekeeper who understands that what makes a ecosystem strong is its biodiversity, not its monolithic nature. Diversity in a system creates the richness of the system. Diversity in sexuality creates a richness in human relationships in any culture. So now after I feel I have established my mission, which was to show the world the power of black gay men who are enlightened. It was not only for me to show this to the non-gay world, but to my own brothers, that we have powers and abilities and talents that we didn't perhaps know we had fully. And hopefully my voice, my teachings, my temples, my books, my music, all these things give black gay men a sense of pride in what they can be, what we are meant to do for ourselves and for the planet. So, with that said, I am now ready to open the teachings to non-gay, the full teachings. I've taught many teachings, like I said before, to all people, black, white, Asian, gay, straight, bisexual, transgender. It is irrelevant to me. But there were things I kept quiet, unless you were a gatekeeper, unless you were gay. Today that seal shall be broken. I now open my temple, my heart, my teachings, because I feel that my people, my gay people, are safe enough, that I hopefully gave them a cushion and some wings around them. So now I can spend my focus on helping other groups. My heart's always loved all people, all genders, all sexualities, all races. But I can now pour my energy into helping other groups understand their mysteries, because that's the gift of the gatekeeper. We can help other groups know their gates. Okay? So last night I did a reading on bisexuality. You'll see in a few minutes, I don't like the term bisexual because I feel it doesn't describe what those souls are experiencing. Meaning that when you say bisexual, it's in the text on the right, but I'll touch on it right here in the conversation. Bisexual, or even homosexual, or heterosexual, sexual. It keeps focusing on the sexual side of the encounter. But it's not bisexual. A bisexual person isn't just focusing on the sexual act with the other party. A bisexual person has metasexual experiences, emotional, romantic, heartfelt, soul-felt experiences beyond the sexual act. So the word bisexual is telling half of, well, quote unquote, bisexuals' actual experience. What I'm trying to say is bisexuals love not only both bodies, male and female or different gender bodies, they also love the emotional connections that come with that sexual encounter of whichever body form they're bonding with, versus what I call homoflexible and heteroflexible. Homoflexible refers to gays who will enjoy playing in the field, playing with the genitals and body parts and sexuality of the other gender, but there's no real desire or longing or craving for an emotional bond, a romantic bond. It's just a thing they do. It's fun. It's exciting, but they're gay who can be flexible in their sexual act. Whereas a bisexual not only can have either gender, either sex, but there's an emotional level to it. It's a very different distinction. Heteroflexible means a heterosexual person who is flexible in sexual encounters with the same gender, same sex, but not having an emotional longing and yearning for a bond beyond the body, really. During sex, there may be a feeling of bonding and connection, but if you're heteroflexible, it's more a physical act that you just happen to enjoy. Almost like a dalliance or playfulness. But after the sexual act, you go back to the woman. If you're a male, hetero male, or you go back to the man if you're hetero woman. But bisexuals can't just leave the other sexual gender because they often have a lot of serious and authentic emotions attached. So I'm going to rephrase the word bisexual to a very, well, it's not the most hard word to say, but you'll see here, I'm going to highlight it here. It says right here, bi body soul sexuals. Let's try it. Bi body soul sexuals. Bi body soul sexuals, okay? Because bisexual, I'll use the word that we know for now. Bisexuals, bi means both, body means body, soul. So the bisexual wants both male and female sexual body encounters and emotional soul encounters. Okay? So with this distinguished, we have to stop the biphobic languaging. Oh, okay, bisexual is just one stop from gay town, or you don't know who you are, you're confused. No. The bisexual person knows they like both genders and they have feelings, very deep or sincere, bonding emotional feelings with both genders. For example, I am strictly gay and I love women, but I have zero desire to have a sexual, physical, or an intimate connection with them in like an intimate sexual way. I have intimate friendships with my women friends, but it's not sexual and it's definitely not physical. Nor am I homoflexible. I have zero desire to have sex with a female. Okay? So I'm on the kind of intense stream of gay. I'm just gay. That's it. I only like men, both emotionally, romantically, and physically. But that's my path. Sexuality is a river with flows and fluxes and ebbs and tributaries and diversity. So let me get to the core of what I wanted to discuss today, which I typed, what do you call it? Cut and paste my reading to this page, but I will explain to you what the reading is talking about. So here I asked, who governs bisexuals? And what do I mean by that? I had written this before I had discovered the new wording of bi-body soul sexual. Okay, so in Africa, everything has a god that controls it. There is an archetype that controls everything you can ever imagine and beyond imagination. So since bisexuals exist, they're not gay people in the closet or half aware. They're actual, their own lane, distinct lane from gayness, distinct lane from heterosexual. They have their own mystery. So I asked, what is the divine archetype, the god or goddess, that embodies the mystery of the bisexual journey, the bisexual path? And you see here, the answer was this god, Ah. I will highlight it here. Ah. Ah is a moon god, which I'll scroll to here. There he is. Ah. He is the lord of bisexuality. Let's talk about it for a minute. Just the visual of his statue. In most cultures, you may have noticed, they view the moon as female. Almost mother moon and moon goddesses and the crone, the maiden and the mother, and it's almost universally male. I'm sorry, female. A few cultures like in India, the moon is male. Also in Babylonian astrology, the god Sin is male. But I'm going to keep it to the Kemetic mystery. So we have this very soft force. The moon is a much softer light than the sun, and the moon deals a lot with tender feelings, inner feelings. So I'm going to talk about the moon as a celestial body that bisexuals, uh, bi-body soul sexuals can look to, pray to, meditate to, invoke to help them enrich their bisexual flow, their bisexual truth, reality, and splendor. So I did what's called the Oracle of Ra, and the card of Ah came. I did what's called a Yijing hexagram, and I got 49. It's called Revolution. So I'd say here, basically in the beginning of this text, that gatekeepers, which are the gay people like myself, who are spiritually awakened. So I love men and I love the divine. And they work together for me. That takes me from just being gay to being a gatekeeper. Okay? Now, the gatekeepers are the ones that can create new realities very easily. We have a talent, a unique talent for creating very steady, solid, holistic systems that didn't exist before. We can do it in arts, in theater, in architecture, in philosophy, in literature. We can create. We are an extremely creative group, gatekeepers. So I came back to correct the corruption of African spiritual systems, and I built my Pa'ut. If you go to my YouTube channel, you type in Pa'ut in the search, you'll see some blue screened little screens there where I describe the Pa'ut. It is a map of human and nature psychology from the most profound level of consciousness and energy to the most physical. It is a map of the universe. It is like a mandala of creation. And it includes everyone. There's no one, the way it's designed, it's impossible to not include everyone. Whites, blacks, Asians, gay, straight, bisexual, transsexual, whatever. It was designed intentionally to provide a map for the age of Aquarius, the age of Hapi, the age of the androgeneity forces. to have a model, a philosophical map of how to build Aquarian age inclusive, diverse, loving, and just societies. That's what it is designed to do. But you have patriarchy and its toxic masculinity. And toxic masculinity attacks sexuality quickly. Okay? One of the main things of toxic masculinity and patriarchy is control women's sexuality, control their bodies, and control anybody else's sexuality, make it subservient to toxic masculine sexuality and values. So we heterosexual toxic masculine males can rule them all and take all their resources and control the world. Okay? So these toxic masculine systems target sexuality. And if it doesn't support what he thinks he needs, then he will vilify it, torture it, burn it, say it goes into hell, it's the devil, whatever he wants to say to maintain power. None of it's true. It's all a bunch of smokes and mirrors and BS to cover his inadequacies in his pursuit for power over everything but himself. So the gatekeepers, the gay men, and the lesbians are the most powerful warriors against patriarchy. But we are small in number and don't have access to a lot of resources when the heterotoxic people rule them. But the bisexuals can help with the revolution of sexuality because they can infiltrate patriarchal systems and pass, legitimately pass. They can go into a job workspace and they may have a woman if they're a male, and he can say, yeah, I have a wife and I have kids. He may not develop he's bisexual or bisexual, but he, if he just keeps it to that level, oh, you're straight, you're hetero, we can relate and come on down to, drinks or whatever, and they make them included. But meanwhile, the bisexual is kind of studying the internal corporate cultures, the structures, and looking at ways of deconstructing it, reconstructing it, renovating it, reviving it, making it more inclusive. They have this power which gay people don't. We can't hide that we don't want to be with the opposite sex, that we don't want to have hetero-looking types of lifestyles. We can't hide it, for the most part. Maybe some homoflexibles can do it, but not really, because a homoflexible means you have sexual fun with the opposite sex, but not really wanting emotional bond. Okay, so that can't sustain. So, and about the moon, in the moon count, so the moon has phases, 30-day phases, 15 waxing, 15 waning. And the way it's described in many systems, the first day waxing is called day one waxing, and the first day waning is called day one waning. The second day waxing of the moon is called day two waxing. The second day waning is called day two waning. The third day waxing is called waxing day 3, and the third day waning is called waning day 3. What I'm trying to describe here is that the moon has a first day of growing brighter and a first day of darkening, a second day of growing brighter and a second day of darkening, a third day of brightening and a third day of darkening. So we have one bright, one brightening, one darkening. It's the same number, the number 1, but it's the yin and yang. The yang is the brightening and the yin is the darkening. So the moon has one number that likes two genders. The number 1 likes the yang waxing, and the number 1 likes the yin waning one. So the number 1 likes both the male 1 and the female 1. The number 2, day of the moon phase, you have a day 2 waning and a day 2 waxing. You have the same number, the number 2, but it likes both the female and male sides of 2. I hope the logic is being clear. It's in the text here a little bit, if you want to read it and take your time with it. But that's how, when I went to Konsu, I chanted to him, and he told me, if you look at how the moon is counted, it's a bisexual counting system. The one person, or the number, if we replace the number, 1 day waning, 2 day waning, day 3 waning, day 4, if we said person 1 waxing, person 2 waxing, person 1 waning, person 2 waning, it's the same person on the male and female sides of the moon cycles. So it is a bisexual counting method. So bi-body soul sexuals can look at the moon and say, there I am. Nature has got my back. The moon preserves my mysteries of bi-body soul sexual. Okay? There is a source in the universe that I can behold and connect with in my heart and spirit called the moon. And he validates, even if society does not, he validates that my bisexuality is beautiful, bright, flowing, and glorious. Okay? The other thing I want to talk about, the bi-body soul sexual mysteries. So I've been doing my work as a gatekeeper, gay male, for a very long time, most directly from 2010 to now. That's about, what, 13 years now? 2010, yeah, 2023. And I noticed that the gay males and the gay people, more the gay males, also the lesbians, the kind of pure lesbians, the female mysteries, we tend to create things that are extraordinary and unheard of and iconoclastic and before their time, whatever. But we seem to not be able to preserve them without self-destructing on some level. We seem to kind of implode after creation. For example, there was the AIDS crisis in the 80s, and the gay men and the lesbians went to glorious war. They fought tooth and nail, bled, literally bled, to force the US government, I'm talking about here in USA, to see gay people dying from AIDS and HIV, to like open their eyes, look at what's happening, and do something. And it was a splendid thing to behold. We're here, we're queer movement, get used to it. I mean, it was war at its finest. The war of love and the war of humanitarianism. And for all those years, particularly in the 80s, gay men were so conscientious and just wonderful about safe sex, responsible sex, condom sex. We had billboards, we affected advertisers, we affect companies, we affect government policy. It was astounding what the gays pulled off against patriarchy and toxic masculinity. Fast forward to the late 90s, early 2000s, and we got this return. I remember watching it. It kind of shocked me in the late 90s. This kind of movement among gay men towards bareback sex and unsafe sex. In the 80s, you would be basically skewered socially if you talked about bareback sex and all these people are dying like this. But then it went, well before PrEP, it went to this strange return to the behaviors that put us at high risk. And then the app world began to happen with the internet. An app world, I think the app world is a very toxic environment, a very dangerous place for mental health and happiness and sexual connection and love. I think it's horrible for the most part. There are experiences where people have found love, but overall, the system is really quite wicked and cruel and heartless. So we went from being this brotherhood and sisterhood of unity and solidarity and fighting to this toxic world of beating each other up online and being rude in apps and ghosting people. It's just horrific. So what happened? What has happened? So I'm seeing that with the gay community, not the gatekeepers, the gay community, it's like creation itself. We are more the creators of things, the innovators of things, whereas the bisexuals are more the preservers. In India, they have this idea of the great trinity called Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma is like the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva is the destroyer. So all things are created, they sustain themselves, and then they have to wither and die away. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, creation, sustain, and dissolve. So the gatekeepers, the gays, are the creators. The bi-body soul sexuals are the preservers, and the particularly patriarchal people are the destroyers. Okay, so I'm giving mythic roles to kind of large swatches of sexual bonding and expression. Now, my experience of bi-body soul sexuals is what I'm seeing on like Grindr and people, these apps and things. It's a really gross, vulgar objectification of sex. When these boys are on these apps, if you watch what's happening, it's really degrading. It's really what I call reducing people to body parts and penises and holes and chests and pecs and hair. It's just actually unbelievable. And for me to have seen us go from the unity and the brotherhood of the 80s, and we're used to it, to this kind of reducing our brothers and down to these body parts. No fats, no femmes, no blacks, no. I mean, it's just a madness. It's a shocking shift. So I had to analyze what's happening there. That's very weird. So when the universe was made, it was a big bang. It was a singularity. There wasn't much diversity. It was a singularity. The same thing repeating, the same element, like maybe helium. Okay? Sameness, sameness, sameness. Homo, homo. The word homo means same. So the homosexual people are like Brahma. We create from a singularity. We are the same gender, the same male, male, or female, female, but we create from that within that sameness. But we can't sustain the creation without our brothers and sisters from the bi-body soul sexual community. Because my experience of bi-body soul sexual people, I find they really don't tend to objectify people like gay men in particular can do. Because the bi-body soul sexuals feel not only the bodies of the opposite mate, opposite partner, but the emotional humanity of the opposite and same partner. They realize that the male has feelings and the female has feelings. They're not things to be reduced into some kind of objective machine, toy, reductive thing. So the bisexuals can help the gays to stop this objectifying gig and check it, because it's getting out of hand. It's getting ridiculous. You see, I love my gay community, but I will read them too. I will tell the truth about our glory and our inglories, because we have to face the truth. Every group has its light and dark, its good and bad, and this is the bad part of my community, whom I love with my very life and will go down in flames for them. And I will read them too, because if you love something, you read it so it can improve. So My point is, during the age of Aquarius, Hoppy, the androgeneity diversification of sexuality, during that age, all the different sexual fluxes, we have to unite. I had to kind of what's called, I remember when I was taking classes at Columbia University in East Asian Studies, there was a phrase used in Japanese history called closed country policy. There was a time in Japanese history where they closed off their borders from people coming in or going out. Was it kaikoku? I think it was called. Or I think kaikoku. It's been many years, so I don't quite remember. Was it saikoku or kaikoku? But anyway, when you're under attack, you have to defend your own. You have to kind of lock down and protect your own family first. So when I made the Golden Beetle temple, I was in lockdown mode. Protect your own first. Even though I taught and gave help and counsel and freely and or classes, whatever, to all people, my intent was to make sure my people are first protected, shielded, and empowered. But now things have changed. Times have moved on. I have to open up to now helping other groups know their gates, their mysteries, their beauties, their splendors, their wonders. Because we're all here together. If the gays, from what I'm seeing, with all their beautiful creative splendor and glory, were left on their own, we will get Grindr and all these toxic reducing of human souls and spirits to body parts madness. The bi-body soul sexuals can remind us, hey, that's not nice. That's a person over there, not some peck or some hairiness or some twinkiness or some muscle butchness. You're reducing to these little categories. And it's spiraling out of control. What the bi-body soul sexuals need to understand about the gay people, particularly the gatekeepers. I am a gatekeeper. My mission is to revive the science of the gates of human psychology, the diversity and the wonderful variety and the laws of that variety of human psychology with nature. What I am saying right now, the depth of spiritual analysis, my screen, I'm so sorry. The depth of spiritual analysis that I am now sharing on this video, according to our ancestral traditions, can only be granted to the bi-body soul sexuals by an enlightened gatekeeper, a gay person. Because we're the creators. You see? So the bi-body soul sexuals have to honor that a gay male, a gay gatekeeper, is the one revealing the bi-body soul sexual mysteries. The bi-body soul sexual people don't have what we say the ashe, the divine dispensation, to decode these sexual mysteries like a gatekeeper can. We all have a task, we all have a lane, we all have a contribution, and we have to work as teams. I chose to be the corrector of this time. It is not an easy job. It is a very challenging task, daunting, and I loved every minute of it. And it is, you wouldn't want this task unless you're built for it. Because the heat is real. And you can't get it wrong because souls can be damaged if you mess up your math. So I was built for this job. I love this job. And few would love it if they really knew what it took for me to produce all this content and information and, classes and whatever. Okay? Because one concern of gatekeepers, which are the enlightened spiritual gays, is that other groups will take our creativity, bite it off, and not give credit to the source and say, we made this. It wasn't from some gay person. But I made sure that I designed my entire social presence where that would be impossible to do on me. No one can say they invented what I produced because I made it so clear and have such a branding focus and a marketing focus that if you try it, people say, oh, that's the golden beetle. You'll get caught. I'm used to other groups who are not gay stealing from us, stealing our creativity, robbing us and running away saying, I made this, I did this, when in fact, it was a homosexual that brought it down. So I'm making it clear to my beloved, truly beloved, bisexuals, you did not decode this. I did. Because that's my lane. That's my task. In return, you have to say thank you. I'm just saying, find your manners. Thank you for whatever it took for you to make a video telling us that we are beautiful and divine and found in the moon, have our own lane, a path that's unique and beautiful and required for the diversity balance. See, I'm giving you a spiritual analysis of bi-body soul sexuality, linking it to divine forces, cosmic patterns, because I am a gatekeeper and I can do this by cosmic dispensation. We say I have the divine ashe or the cosmic dispensation to do this. Okay? So, that's basically what I wanted to say about bisexuality. I wanted to let the world know that as the leader of this movement of gay spirituality, I am now officially stating we are completely and now fully open. All of my mysteries are now open to all people. I will not hold back. I will not edit what I say. All of these teachings, because many things I have on my YouTube channel are just very surface teachings that I make public, but there are many more depths of mysteries to my classes or trainings and things that I don't speak about, and I do change what I say based upon if you're straight, homosexual, homoflexible, heterosexual, heteroflexible, but I change what I will reveal. But as of this reading, I, as the founder of this movement, this system, am letting the world know we are now open. We need the bi-body soul sexual community to come into their gate, their spiritual gate, their lunar power. I also found that bi-body soul sexual people are very intuitive to what others are feeling because they have trained themselves. You know, there's all kinds of people. Some are good, bad, middling, but I'm just saying as a pattern of the group, the bi-body soul sexuals have to learn by default how to pick up what men are feeling, pick up what women are feeling. So they have to really tune in ways on intimate levels that force them to be more attuned. So they're very good at this. And they're very good at, I find that they're very good at understanding people's feelings, respecting that there's a person behind those eyes, and it's a wonderful gift that they bring. Okay? But this gift of the divine knowledge could not be gotten by their own because there was no incarnated person to decode it because that's the gatekeeper's job. I love heterosexuals. Listen, my mother was heterosexual and my father was heterosexual. What's not to love? They have a lane, they have a mystery. I don't want to raise children. That's an astoundingly, to me, complex event. And I respect the hetero people that do it well. A lot of them don't, because we look at the kids being raised, some of them wild, baby kids, but it's an astounding and self-sacrificing mystery that must be respected. And a lot of my work, particularly in my chakra classes, are really for heterosexual people, well, in the beginning, because all people can have babies. You know, gay, bisexual, doesn't matter, bisexual, sexual. But I'm just saying, I wanted people who want to have children to have a map of how to not damage and traumatize their children's chakras. So I designed those classes in my heart to help people raise children sans trauma without ripping up their chakra petals. Because when I reincarnate, I will come through a mother and a father. They might be bisexual, body soul sexual, they might be homosexual, but I'm going to have to deal with a mommy and a daddy. And I want to leave good karma for myself that I helped those who want to parent to have a map, a divine map of how to raise those children's chakras in a healthy, divine manner. So I recognize we need the full river of sexuality, from heterosexual, homosexual, what I really should say is hetero body soul sexual, homo body soul sexual, bi body soul sexual. I've got to train my own brain to get used to my own little new wording. It's just a practice, a matter of practice. Because straight heterosexual people don't just want, well, I don't know, depends if they're toxic masculinity. Generally speaking, they want both the emotional bond with the opposite sex as well as the physical. Okay. So they want not just the body. We should not call it heterosexuality. We should call it hetero body soul sexuality. We should call it homo body soul sexuality. We should call it bi body soul sexuality. Okay. We should call it trans body soul sexuality. Because we keep saying sexual, 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 it makes us focus on the physical when that's not often the more rich part of the experience. It's the heartfelt feelings and connection and human bonding during and through sex that really matters. So I want to change the language. And I might do a little video on gender language, sexuality language, because I want to rephrase these words, because gender and words like cisgender, it can be quite confusing. So I want to give my own view of what those words should be from a spiritual, physical perspective, and hopefully help bring people clarity. Like I said before, you're not homosexual, you're homo body soul sexual. You're not heterosexual, you're hetero body soul sexual. You're not bisexual, you're body soul. You want both. Let's stop focusing on just the physical sexual in our languaging of it even. Okay? So, I wish to thank you for tuning into this. I hope it was useful. I want to send love and love and love to my body, soul, sexual listeners. I want you to know that someone outside of your community loves you, respects your path, your mystery, your God, your contribution. I will do all in my power to spread the word, to encourage you, to celebrate you, to perhaps give guidance if you wish on it, because you are important for the gift only you can give us. Without you, none of us are complete. Without you, none of us are full. So, I welcome you into our world, into our lives, into our teachings. And I really pray that I'm helping a bi-body soul sexual out there to see themselves differently, see themselves in the beautiful light of the moon, in the heavenly celestial spheres, to know that a spiritual leader sees you, sees your uniqueness, sees your unique contribution, your value that no other group can give us, who embraces that, welcomes it, and wants to expand it. So we can have the homo body soul sexuals and all these communities, the bi-body sexuals, the hetero body soul sexuals, we can all come as water, drops of water to one river. We unite, we unify, we help each other. In the age of Aquarius, we all know without each other, we are dried up. So, love yourself. Screw what other people tell you. Love who you are, be who you are, 100% in glory. I'll add one more thing in a reading I did about this theme of the bisexual journey. The oracle said it was called the 25th hexagram, called Innocence. Yi Jing, hexagram number 25. Long story short, because the video is getting a bit long, the reading said bisexuals often feel they don't belong here, they don't belong there. They don't belong, they don't really fit with the heterosexual world because they like the opposite, and the gays don't really embrace them quite well either. So they have an experience of being everywhere, meaning both sides of the fence, but nowhere. Neither side is really embracing of them. That's a very horrible, cruel, and heartless thing to put them through. It breaks my heart that they're having those feelings from a little age, a little bi-body soul sexual child, feeling this terror, this loneliness, this isolation on both sides of their heart. My God, that's just wicked. And so the oracle said to tell the bi-body soul sexuals, the thing to focus on is there are two parts to every human. The true part and the false part, or the true identity and the fake ID. The true identity we call Amun and Osar, the great observers. So when you were a little bi-body soul sexual child, there was Tommy and there was Mary. And you loved them both. You thought they were both cute. You want to give them both a little kiss, pull their both a little hair. Oh, I love you. You're so cute. You actually had that experience as a little bi-body soul sexual child. But then you had this BS culture garbage. Well, you can't do that. You got to be one or the other, and be a man, be a woman. God only made Adam and Eve, or whatever. So this taunts and tortures you psychologically in the back of the head, in the background. So what you have to do is simply stick to the fact of observing what your heart just told you love. Your heart just told you, I liked Tommy and I liked Sally. That's what your heart just said. I like Tommy and I like Sally. They both make my heart ring. They make my soul open. And I want to connect with both of them, a lot. The false self is all the chatter that judges that observation. But just say, the fact is, I just observed, I have love for both. And that is God, Amun, Osar, God experiencing by body soul sexual bonding through you. When we eclipse and shame and put down by body soul sexual people, we're denying God, the creator, the experience of love and pleasure through both sexes. The same when we deny homo body soul sexuality, we are denying God the experience of sexual delight in his own reflection, male to male, female to female, loving his own reflection. No one suppresses really hetero body soul sexuality, so I'm not going to really speak too much to that community because they're not the oppressed group. I'm not counting sexism and misogyny. That's a different dynamic. But as heterosexual as a group, there's no real oppression. No one's putting you down and denying you homes and laws and legality things. But the homobodysexuals and the bibodysexual people are definitely discriminated against and derided and all kinds of things. So don't deny God his desire to experience love through both genders or the same gender or the opposite gender. Don't deny this. You are denying the Creator a path of love he wishes to experience on the physical plane. So stop this biphobia, this bi-bashing. It's got to stop. As I began this lecture on bisexual bi, body, soul, sexual means exactly that. It's not halfway to homo town. It's not homo not knowing that he's homo or she's homo or lesbian. That can happen, but don't accuse a body, soul, sexual person of being that. Let them have their god dang experience. Let them be. Let them give them the loving space to be, to discover, to uncover, to investigate, and to learn what they really are feeling. And I'm hoping in this video, it can help older, middle-aged, younger, body, soul, sexual people to not have to take so long to know what they really are. I'm hoping this little lecture gives you a map or something to help you say, oh, that's what I'm feeling. I like him and I like her, not just their body, but I really want an emotional bond. Whereas homoflexible lacks that emotional bond instinct or craving or longing. And heteroflexible lacks that bond. So I'm hoping to distinguish it so you can say, oh, okay, that is what I'm feeling. So I am bisexual. I'm sorry, bibodysexual. I've got to keep practicing. I'll get it right. Okay? So with that, I wish to again thank you for being here in this video. I wish you all the best. May love win. May love win. May love win. I'm banking on it. My beautiful bodies, body, soul, sexuals. Let's all party. Let's all have a day on the beach and volleyball. All the sexualities living as one glorious unity. Okay? So with that, remember, no matter what happens to your life, always look up. Why? Because you are a body, soul, sexual star. Dwell in Hotepu.